feeling like maybe I didn't do enough to deserve where I got, or someone's going to catch me and realize that it's not real. I don't know.
Yeah, where does that come from though? Is that just like what we manufacture in our own minds, or?
Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Alexis. For anybody who doesn't know, welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you have been here before. I am the author of A Journey into Truth, Unveiling Life's Secrets for Truth Seekers, and this is a book that talks all about the last 6 years of my life, my spiritual journey, the experiences I've had, and also some of the lessons I've learned from the many teachers I've had, and from my own life experiences. That book will be coming out on February 2nd, 2022. Here on Vibrate to Create, I talk about all things metaphysical and spiritual, talk about my own spiritual experiences, and also my own life philosophies, life unsolicited advice sometimes. I also make reaction videos to spiritual teachers, spiritual teachings, and I also sometimes make entrepreneurship videos talking about how to self-publish your own book, how to find cover designers, how to format the interior of your book, edit it, all kinds of things. So if you're interested in that kind of content, then you can click subscribe or hit the notification bell to be notified of when I post new videos. Today I'm doing a couple of videos reacting to my favorite spiritual teachers. I just did one by Wayne Dyer, one by Sadhguru, and now I want to do one by Abraham Hicks. And Abraham Hicks was one of my favorite, absolute favorite teachers at the beginning of my spiritual journey. So this teacher is very close to my heart. I have seen her 2 times in person. Well, it was 2 cruises, so maybe like about 5 workshops per cruise. So I've seen her about 10 times in person. I've also met Esther Hicks. We accidentally ran into each other at a garden in Canada, and you can learn more about that experience in my book, A Journey into Truth, Unveiling Life's Secrets for Truth Seekers. Alright, so let's find a video. I have not looked it up yet. I have not found which video I want to react to yet, because I want it to be on the spot here, reaction, genuine reaction in front of you guys. So let's look it up.
How do I give a rep about my parents?
You see, you can't control how anyone else receives you. You can only control whether you're in the receptive mode or not. So you're going to really like this. This is the breakthrough that you're looking for.
How'd you know?
So when you are broadcasting, that's how you set your receiving mode. What you broadcast is what you're receiving. What you broadcast is how you set your receiving mode. So if you're broadcasting from this state of alignment, as we said earlier, the energy that creates worlds is flowing through you in such a powerful way that it overrides what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter what they're thinking about you. What they're thinking about you doesn't affect you if what you're broadcasting has the concert of all that you are flowing with you. You see what we're getting at? But if you've been like most, and you have domineering someones in your life who want you to care about what they think, who've convinced you that it's their allegiance and alignment that you need, but their allegiance and alignment is not in sync with what Source knows about you. When you hook up with what humans want about you, the receptive mode is something down here. When you hook up with the receptive mode of your inner being, it's a whole different vibrational frequency, you see. And so we talked about this earlier, that when you care about how anybody is receiving you, that's always what introduces the resistance and doesn't allow you to get the momentum going. That's always what it is. Now we know, we keep offering words like don't give a rip and don't care, but there's also this thing called law of attraction, or this being an inclusion-based universe. There's no resistance. So you can't not care, because in the not caring, you're caring about what you're not caring about. So when we say, just don't care, just don't give a rip, we're not giving you anything that you can use. We're just telling you, in answer to your question, why it isn't working. But what does work is turning your attention to what does feel good. What does work is turning your attention toward the things that you can find pieces of. And that's what you were not willing to do with us. And we understand it's a big room and there's some bit of self-consciousness, but you are sort of stubbornly determined to stand in your place of hardship. It's almost like you want to overcome the hardship so that the others will understand something. You can't overcome hardship. It's so interesting. We watch so many people that are now in the successful place that you are on your way to, who want to explain how hard it was that they got there because they're still listening to all of the people who are upset that they're not there yet, and they're trying to soothe those that aren't there yet. But that doesn't work. You've got to reach the place where you accept that it's easy, and then it will be easy, and then you got to say to everyone, whether they're willing to listen or able to hear it in the way you mean it, it was easy. It was easy. I made it a struggle a lot longer than I needed to, but when I finally figured it out, it was easy. Question is why? You said why? Why was it easy? It was easy because the energy was already there, and the momentum had already been gathered, and the stuff was already aligned. It was easy because I just had to do one little piece. I just had to relax a little. I just had to trust a little. I just had to believe a little. I just had to try a little less hard. I just had to stop justifying and rationalizing and defending. I had to stop the struggle and the effort and the defense and the blame. I just had to
I love her so
and let it come,
much.
which meant I had to feel worthy without justification. Isn't that just the most incredible thing? I've got to feel worthy without justification. How can I do that when I've been justifying and justifying and justifying and it hasn't been coming? That's why.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come. Your worthiness cannot be presented to you in the form of blessings that you all deserve when you feel that you have to justify your worthiness, you see. You got to give that up. We're making so much more of this than it deserves. You just have to find something fun to think about and think about it. Is there anything fun to think about? Is there anything fun that's in your vortex that you'd like to think about? Anything at all? Stop it.
Cars. Why do I do that? I take so long to just decide.
It's an internal struggle. It's an internal struggle as you're trying to give yourself permission to talk about something, and you're worried that you might not say the right thing, when anything that you would have said would have been the right thing.
Oh, man.
Anything that you would have said would have been the right thing. Anything. Because you get to want, you get to desire. The universe is ready to yield to you. You don't have to justify. You've had someone teach you that you need to justify. You better have a very good reason for asking for what you're asking for. But that's not the way the universe at large is. That's not who your inner being is. Your inner being is ready and willing and able to shower you with the blessings and the details that you've been asking for. You just have to give yourself permission to ask.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here and kind of talk a little bit about my thoughts and ideas and just what's coming up for me. So, this is beautiful. I love everything that she says. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, first let's start off with that. So, my purpose for making these reaction videos to various spiritual teachers is not to guide people to follow these teachers or to listen to everything that they say, because I think it's so important to use our own internal intuition, our own feelings inside, and to not ever put our power in a teacher's hand just because they have thousands or millions or some kind of platform on any website or social media platform. And so I think it's so important to just have that own sense of self-empowerment, self-knowing that we have the access to all of these answers within us. And so my purpose for making these videos is just to give you guys different ideas of different spiritual teachings, spiritual teachers. They're just teachers who are guiding us back into ourselves, to think for ourselves, to feel for ourselves, to know how to make decisions for ourselves, and to follow our own intuition about what we know is best for our own selves. And so, anyways, this is so beautiful what she's talking about, because I am in the middle of, releasing my book and creating my own business and allowing all of my dreams to finally manifest and to come true, because I've been wanting this book for so long. And so as it's coming to fruition, and now that it's coming into the birthing stage, I just got a message. Now that it's coming into like the birthing stage of like putting it out into the world for people to read, there's all these kinds of fears coming up. So this is perfect because it started to go into not listening to outside sources for the validation that we have to be able to follow our dreams, and not giving a rip about what somebody else thinks is the right path for you. And I talked about this in my reaction video about Sadhguru, where people don't know your past. People don't know what your qualifications are. People don't know the possibilities of who you could become by taking that first step. Even though sometimes we don't know everything, sometimes we're not perfect, and sometimes we fake it till we make it, or sometimes we are just learning along the way and are on our way to becoming more knowledgeable about the subject. But nobody can know everything. Nobody can start out already at the end process or progress. So like if you think of it as like a path or a journey, you begin at the very beginning. You don't have like the whole thing finished. That's how the journey works. The journey is each step along the way. It's not, oh, I'm already all the way there. It's like, no, it's a journey, and it's a subtle movement. It's a subtle journey towards the actual end result of that. And I also don't think there is any such thing as an end result in life. We're always going to be evolving, always going to be changing. There's always going to be hardships. There's always going to be, you know, with impermanence of life comes with the death. It comes with sometimes sickness. It comes with growing old. It comes with imperfections. It comes with a society that we grew into that is definitely not perfect, that is definitely evolving on its own as well as a collective, as, you know, everybody is shifting and changing, and sometimes we go through really hard hardships, and sometimes those are the reasons why we become better. And that's the first part of the journey to getting to where we want to be, or to how we want to become. And I'm one of those people who's always been like, you should always follow your dreams. Like, one of my favorite movies is the Greatest Showman. I am so inspired by that movie. I love it so much. And I know people who are like, I didn't really like it that much, but I'm like, I love it. And I think it's because I love that story of like someone who can begin from absolutely nothing, and then they grow into something that's so magnificent, and they have hardships like he did in the movie, and they're like, okay, I don't know where the heck I'm supposed to go now. And it's almost like this moment of like, I just took a giant leap of faith. Sometimes I fail, and even when I failed, I got back up and I made it even better than it was the first time. And I am so much an advocate for following your dreams, because life is so short, you guys. Life is so short. And with this book that I'm putting out, like, I have to trust that even if it doesn't work out, at least I put it out there, and at least somebody can benefit from it. At least one person can read it, and actually maybe they would change their life because of it. Maybe they would be inspired to take an action that caused massive change in the world. Or maybe they decided that they were so inspired that they wanted to create their own business, or they wanted to make their own book. Like, that is so beautiful that we have the power to change somebody's life, and by changing their life, we change all the lives of the people they encounter, and they change all the lives of the people they encounter. And it's just like the whole world could change by us just following our power, following our dreams, following our purpose and who we're meant to become, and going on a healing journey and becoming better than we were before the storms that we were put in. And I'm like going on this big old rampage. I'm like getting chills up this whole time. I'm like, I gotta keep talking about this. But you guys, follow your dreams, follow what you were meant to do here, because what is the point of living if you're not actually living? What is the point of living if you're just working day in and day out at a job you hate and you don't want to be doing? What is the point? What is the point of being in relationships you don't want to be in? What is the point? We got to be working towards what we're wanting and doing what we're wanting to do, and not caring what anybody thinks, because people are going to think what they're going to think. They're going to think from the place that they're in, or from their own insecurities. So if somebody's telling you don't follow your own business, those are their own fears about following their own business. Those are the things that they have learned on their own path. But that does not mean you should not follow your own dreams. You have to follow your own dreams, you guys. Woo. Okay. There's my inspirational speech for today.
Conversation there just a little bit. But you felt it, didn't you? You felt it. And so, car represents a vehicle. Why is a car appealing to you?
How are you saying the things in my head? Well, no, we already
we
know.
told you, we're standing in your vortex. We can say things that aren't even yet in your head.
Say it, say it, say it. Do it, do it.
This is the point. We are transmitting to you signals that are going to surprise and delight you and keep you living happily ever, ever after. But you just have to get in the vicinity of it so they start occurring to you. So here's the question. Was it our thought that you received, or was it your thought that we received?
What?
You talked about us getting in your head. Was it our thought that you received, or was it your thought that we received?
I have no idea.
Think about it. This matters. We've been talking all day about you being in the receptive mode. We've been talking about this vortex that has all the things in it that you've been putting there, and our ability to be in there, to see it, to know it, to understand it, and we are projecting a signal that is so powerful. Who's in the receptive mode? You are. You are. Even when you want something, that means you're in the receptive mode. For a desire to even occur to you, you're in the receptive mode. You just got to run with it and not kill it with your doubt. You got to say, I got an idea. That means I'm in the receptive mode, and that means it can be a reality. It can be a see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it manifestation. It can be. It can be all of that because I want it. I received it. Where do you think your desires come from? Because you're in the receptive mode. We just want you to stay there, which was what your brilliant question was about. How can I stay there longer? How can I stay in the receptive mode longer?
Back to cars.
Back to cars. All right.
I kind of feel connected to a machine in that type of way. I just know the corners, the angles, how much it wants to be pushed, where it wants to go. I would love to be a race car driver, but I mean, I have no idea how I'm going to get there.
Now wait.
That'll be fun. It's just fun. It's just.
Now don't explain yourself. You made a bad mistake just now. We're playing with you, but that's the thing that I would love to be a race car driver, but
I like to do a lot of other things. Like, I just want to do everything, and I want to have it all at the same time. But like,
I want to do everything, and I want to have it all, but
how? How would I be everything? I would be like everybody.
All right, so we're going to give you the secret to the success that you're looking for.
Let's do it.
And you're ready for it, and they're ready for you to be ready for it. So when you say, I want cars, or I want everything, and you say, how? Just change that one question to why. Because the why will hold you in the momentum of your desire longer. The how, almost every time, will take you out of it. Whenever you ask yourself for an answer that you don't have, you lose your connection. But when you ask a question that leads you further in the momentum of your desire, it allows the momentum of the desire to go further. Did you hear that?
When my parents ask how I'm going to do that, what do I tell them?
The word why and what's it to you are similar. Why are you interested might be a good question. Why are you interested? What would they say?
Because they care for my well-being. They would like to see me be, more, more successful, but like more happier and more, well off.
I love that answer, folks. Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Yeah, but what are you going to do about it?
Why do you want to know?
Because you're just sitting at home doing nothing.
But what's action got to do with anything?
Because how are the bills going to pay themselves? How are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to provide for your family? How are you going to do all of these things?
Well, it's not possible for my dreams to come true and all of that to not come true with it. It's not possible for me to come into alignment with all that I'm asking for and have any lack whatsoever in my life experience. Mom, Dad, you're taking score of where I am. You have to give me an opportunity to move from where I am to where I'm going. And you can't ask me for the details of how I'm going to make that transition, because that's going to come one step at a time, and you can't stand with me one step at a time. In fact, I think that you standing there every step along the way and asking me, where are you going, what are you doing, how are you doing, where are you going, what are you doing, how are you doing, is distracting me from what I need to do to go. Just give me a little space, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it by doing it. I can't explain it to you word by word. I don't have the answers word by word. Don't ask me for a plan of action that's going to take me from point A to point B. Let me tune into the inspiration that allows that to come. All that is good to anyone comes through inspiration, and my inspiration must be allowed to flow. I love how much you love me, and I love how interested you are in what I'm doing. And I am so exhilarated about what's coming for me and how good you're going to feel about it. And I love how much you love me. And I want you to know how much I love you. But you gotta let me just have some space where I can prove to myself how this all works. And I'm right on the brink of it. I can feel it. I can feel that things are moving and that the energy is flowing. I can feel that things are ready to pop. I can feel the inspiration percolating within me. I can feel ideas flowing. You know what it feels like to have a good idea. I know you do. I see the success of your lives. I know that you know this in some way. But I'm doing it in a way that you have not done it, or maybe most people have not done it. I am no longer going to be so action-oriented that I only allow myself the mediocrity of life. I'm reaching for something that is bigger, and that takes big dreams. And big dreams cannot be explained at the outset. They have to be allowed to gestate. They have to be allowed to evolve. You're going to get to watch me translate my vibrations into thoughts and my thoughts into things. And I'm not going to explain one bit of it to you along the way.
I love that video so much. It's so good. So good. Yeah, it's all about, like I said earlier, following your own intuition, following what you want to do, what you feel inspired to do. And I'm thinking of, I don't know if any of you guys know who this is, but her name is Hayley Williams, and she's from Paramore. And I was watching an interview once, like a while back, and she was talking about the beginning stages of Paramore and the beginning of who she became as she was on the road to following her dreams and working as an artist, basically. And I remember there was one specific moment where she was saying how she totally believes in following your intuition, because that's how she I need to find that interview. But she was talking about how let me look it up. Let's see.
Maybe let's get a little bit personal and talk about some of the things that you got wrong in order to get it right. And maybe talk to this audience about, like, hang in there, it takes time, whatever your advice is. What would you say to those young people just getting started?
Man, I mean, we started really young, and I think one thing I wouldn't do anything different, because I feel like I'm here sitting on this stool because I did things the way that I did, and the band did things the way that we did. But I do wish, in a way, I had been a little bit more fearless about my position early on, because, there weren't a lot of girls in the scene when we were kids. I mean, there were plenty of girls to look up to. There was Gwen Stefani, there was Brody from Distillers, and Shirley Manson, and all these wonderful females. I mean, even Debbie Harry, Cyndi Lauper. But I didn't have anyone my age around me that was a female. I was just on a tour with, like, guys twice my age. And I really, I think I didn't show it on stage, but I doubted myself a lot. I really did. And I felt that loneliness sort of translating into something that it shouldn't have.
You doubted yourself, like your skills, like you could actually do it, or like...
I just doubted whether or not people would ever take me seriously.
Like imposter syndrome, like, what am I...
Yes, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Yes. Imposter syndrome. I have it. I have imposter syndrome. I'm just going to accept it. Because I think that I'm ready to get over it. But, I mean, I'm 28 and I've been in a band for 13 years. And I'm just now realizing that that's really what it is. It's feeling like maybe I didn't do enough to deserve where I got, or someone's going to catch me and realize that it's not real. I don't know.
Yeah, where does that come from, though? Is that just like what we manufacture in our own minds, or?
I wish I knew where imposter syndrome came from.
Because I know a lot of people struggle with that. I mean,
Yeah.
me too sometimes. I feel like
Yeah.
I have to pinch myself like, wow, this is amazing. Am I really here
Yeah.
with you? And I think probably a lot of people watching can relate to that. But like, keep just grinding it out. Whether they've got, they're singing on YouTube, or they're playing a local coffee shop or a club. Like, how long do you give this great idea, your passion, until... Because a lot of people say, when are you going to get this real job? Especially the
Yeah.
doubters, who
Yeah.
may not... Maybe you're this diamond in the rough, like you really haven't completely come into your own yet. But,
Yeah.
like, how do you push through that?
It's interesting to think about what makes me want to keep going, and what might make me want to quit. Because my band, we've been through so many crazy... we've been through a lot of hard times, and we've been through incredible... We've had so many successes and these great achievements, but that also that shouldn't be the fuel either to keep going. I think, to be really honest, 2 years ago I was ready to quit. I just thought, I'd been through a lot personally, and the band had been through a lot, and I doubted if I could write a record that I loved as much as our self-titled record. And I just thought, oh, man, I've been stressing this for 13 years. I've been working my ass off for 13 years, since before I had a car, before I had, anything that was mine. The only thing that was mine was this music, was this bond that I had with my friends, these shows that we played. I really felt like maybe it was time to hang it up and find out what other things I could be good at, whether that's just being starting a family, or doing hair dye, or whatever it was. But I think my dad always said, if you're not happy, just hang it up.
That was kind of unplanned, but I just thought of that video. But I couldn't find the specific part where she talks about intuition, but I remember it vaguely in my mind, where she was talking about following her own intuition. I guess that kind of is what she was talking about there, was following her own intuition, following her own guidance system, which told her, don't give up yet, don't give up on your dreams yet, don't give up on this band yet, but keep going. And she was saying how she's so happy she didn't decide to just throw it all away, or just say, I'm not doing this anymore, because pushing through that moment of oh, this is I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and still pushing forward and working on your own dreams, and working on finding a way to make it more pleasurable and happy again, and how that leads to a beautiful outcome. It leads to more beautiful music to be made, and more lives to inspire, and all kinds of things. But yeah, so if you guys want to watch that video, or watch the full video, or learn some more about Hayley Williams, I'll leave that down in the links below. But I'm gonna share just a couple of those clips with you guys to kind of harp on the back of this idea of following your dreams, because she is somebody who has followed her dreams and has had hardships along the way, and nothing is perfect. Even when your dreams manifest, you won't be finished, they won't be complete. There's no such thing as completeness, there's no such thing as perfection, there's no such thing as a perfect life, or a perfectly happy life, because we are all growing, and we're all learning, and we're all just living the life. Living life. We're just living life. And yeah, I'm super inspired by her, because she is someone who followed her dreams, and she talks about in that video the imposter syndrome, and being do I actually know what I'm doing? Do I actually belong here? Do I actually deserve the things I've worked for? And the answer is yes, of course, but sometimes we can't see our own value that we're putting out there. We can't see our own greatness, our own goodness, or our own talent. And yeah, so many people can look up to her and say, she is such a good performer, she has such a beautiful voice, or she is such a good writer. And there's also, I'm sure, people who are oh, I hate Paramore, or I hate the music they put out, or I hate blah blah blah. And that goes back to this idea of judgment, and other people's judgments are not yours to take on. People like the kind of music they like. If you like heavy metal and you hate rap, that's a personal preference. It's a personal diversion of It's a personal diversity of opinion. It's a personal choice of what somebody likes. And just because someone likes vanilla ice cream and someone likes chocolate ice cream doesn't mean they need to become enemies because you don't like chocolate ice cream. You're such a horrible person. No, I'm just kidding. I like chocolate. I like both. But yeah, there's personal preferences, and just because somebody doesn't like the kind of music Paramore puts out doesn't mean that Paramore is a terrible band. They're a terrible band in the eyes of the person who doesn't like Paramore, but to someone who loves Paramore's music, it's like, oh my gosh, I love this music. I love watching her perform. I love blah blah blah. And so following your dreams on the basis of what somebody is going to like or not like about what you put out, to me, that's inauthentic living. It's inauthenticity. It's trying to be a person that you think the world would love, when in reality, there's going to be people who hate you and people who love you. There's going to be people who agree with what you say and people who think you're completely an airhead or you're stupid or you don't know what you're talking about. And that's just the reality of the diversity of life and the diversity of the upbringings that all of us have had, and the diversity of the parents we grew up with, and the schools we were surrounded by. It all happens from the moment that we're born. We become who we become, and we grow our judgments, and we grow our biases, and we grow our wounds, our childhood wounds, and then we grow our preferences. And that's okay to have preferences. If you don't like my content, if you don't like who I am, that's okay. If you love who I am, cool for you. No. But this goes back to the Sadhguru one, where the judgments of others, good or bad, is not necessarily that important. It shouldn't be that important to who we are, because it's going to always be different no matter who it is. Because like I said, we all grew up in different places. I think that'll be all for the videos that I filmed today, and tomorrow I will be filming again. If you enjoyed this video, or you think it might help somebody, or somebody else would enjoy it, then share this video or leave a comment down below letting me know what you liked about the video or your favorite part. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye.